Hello everyone and welcome to the channel once again. Today we have to discuss the elephant in the room, and that is that Fatal Fury City of the Wolves has a great gameplay and it's a great game, but maybe it needs to be delayed. The game has a lot of big problems like matchmaking, netcode, and both of those things are not necessarily bad, but they are very inconsistent. And you cannot have this level of inconsistency on an online experience in 2025 when you're competing with Street Fighter 6, with Tekken 8, with Granblue Fantasy Versus, with MK1. At the end of the day, most of the other devs have already figured out how to have good netcode, especially SF6. You also have Guilty Gear Strive. So in that sense, SNK cannot commit the same mistakes they did with KOF15 because that is enough to kill this game on release. So this is what we're going to be discussing today. If you enjoy fighting game content, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing and leave a comment. Do you think that Fatal Fury needs to be delayed for it to succeed? And let's actually start with the video. I, of course, more than anyone, want this game to succeed. I'm a huge SNK fan. SNK games are my favorite fighting games since I've been a kid. And in many ways, I think that the gameplay on this game is incredible. It's one of my favorite games, I never had this much fun on a fighting game since I played Dragon Ball FighterZ, as my main quote-unquote fighting game. And even though the other modern fighting games are very fun, I don't think that any of them are as fun for me as this game, even though we have only been playing it for 4 days. So I really wanted to succeed. But that is why I'm having the discussion that at the end of the day, maybe this game should be delayed. Because the matchmaking, as I said at the start, and the netcode, they are not necessarily bad, but they are very inconsistent. And there's a ton of situations in which you can see it and you feel it, super hard. Because, for example, you play guys or people, that are good at the game. When you get to a relatively high rank on the beta, I got to A rank with Kine. And the players that you find are incredibly good. So when you fight good players, you start to feel the lag very strong because they short hop a lot. They do very fast offense and defense, and in that sense you have to react super quickly to everything, and you cannot do that if you have rollback frames that go from 1 to 9 frames from one moment to another, and the other guy is teleporting even though you have 40 ms. So in that sense, that is a huge problem with the netcode that needs to be addressed, and it is a problem that was also present on KOF15. But I gotta say, like, the netcode in this game, when it works well, it's better than the one on KOF15. But I would say that this netcode, it's even more inconsistent than the one on KOF15. I feel like in this game I have more problems, in terms of consistency, with the netcode than when I played KOF15. And the netcode was one of the reasons, and the matchmaking, why I stopped playing KOF15, even though I had a ton of fun with the gameplay. At the end of the day, it was a nightmare to turn the game on, look for matches, and have a good match. So in that sense, that cannot happen again with this game, because this game is gonna die on release if it happens again. I would even buy it anyway, because I think that the gameplay is great, but other people should not. Like, I would encourage you to not buy this game if it has bad netcode and if it has bad matchmaking. Like, both things need to be addressed by SNK. Now, for our luck, Oda has already said publicly that they are working on the matchmaking, and the last days of the beta had better matchmaking. I could feel it when I was playing, and in that sense it's great because they are being, publicly worried about the state of the game, and they really want it to succeed. So that's great, but this needs to be addressed, like systematically. It needs to be addressed all the way here to release, so that the game is perfect when it comes out, because the game cannot be in this state when it comes out fully, on full release. And that is why I think that the game should be delayed, okay? The other side of the coin is, of course, the matchmaking, not only the netcode. And the thing with the matchmaking is that I feel like it's, again, inconsistent. Inconsistent is the word to describe the current state of this game. A lot of the time, it feels like the problem with the game is not necessarily that the netcode and the matchmaking are bad. They feel good when they work. The thing is that they don't work consistently. And that is a huge problem. You cannot have that, on 2025 against these other huge fighting games that you are competing. Now, the thing is that there is a shady dark side to all of this that is not only related to the netcode and matchmaking problems. And that is that this game, since SNK wants it to succeed and be big, this game is connected or registered for the Esports World Cup on 2025. And this game has $1 million, if I'm not mistaken, like a prize pool for the winner of the tournament. So they obviously want the game to be as big as SF6, which is also on the Esports World Cup. And in that sense, that is pretty bad, because it means that the game is probably not going to be delayed. Like, it doesn't matter if the matchmaking and the netcode are inconsistent, it's probably going to be released anyway, because the event is so big, it's such a big moment, that the game is probably gonna go out anyway. And the Esports World Cup is on August, so it's actually really close to the release date of the game. It's only months, away. It's not like a year. So in that sense, that makes things even harder for the developers. And I think that from here, from the end of February all the way to release date, I don't know if they're going to be able to fix the matchmaking and the netcode. I think that is actually not gonna happen. Like, it would be pretty insane if they are actually able to do such thing. Maybe they will make it a little better, but they are not going to fix it in its core. So in that sense, I think that this game could die on release, or at least have, a very small player base, basically like SNK hard fans, and at the end of the day, people that really want to play the game, even though it has these problems. I could be one of those, but I wouldn't recommend people to be part of that group, because they're gonna waste $60 on a game that doesn't work that well. And even though the gameplay is so good, to me it's one of the best games, as I said at the start, that I've played in the last decade. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, you're going to play the game online. It's going to be the main source of gameplay experience that you're going to have. And if the online in general doesn't work that well, why would you put money on this game? So in that sense, I really, really want SNK to deal with this in the best way possible. I think that if the game needs to be delayed, it should be. But I don't know if it's going to happen, because of the Esports World Cup, of course. So in that sense, please let me know what you think. Should this game be delayed? Should this game, be released maybe at the end of 2025 or at the start of 2026, have like a 6 to 8 month window of delay, so that the netcode and the matchmaking gets fixed? Personally, I think that's what should happen. Will it happen? I don't think so, sadly. Hopefully SNK knows what they're doing and they don't commit the same mistakes that killed KOF 15, because SNK, and this is the last point of the discussion that I think is very, very big. SNK historically is like a top tier, fighting game developer. They have very iconic games, characters, but currently in the last decade, they are not even A tier. Okay, SNK has not had amazing success over the last 10 years. The current, top tier fighting game developers are Capcom, Bandai Namco, of course, and the Tekken team. Also, Arc System Works, huge team, especially since Dragon Ball FighterZ. And you could also argue that maybe Cygames has moved to like A tier, because of Granblue. In that sense, I think that SNK is barely competing with Cygames in the quality of their netcode, matchmaking, etc. The gameplay, I think, is top tier, but that is not enough to be a top tier fighting game developer in general. There is more things to fighting games than only how they play, even though that is the most relevant thing in my opinion. But SNK wants to be a top tier fighting game developer again, and they even want to be one of the biggest video game companies in the world. It's in their mission for their company. It is publicly stated that that is the goal of the organization. It's not only our idea as consumers. It's something that they have said publicly, that they need to, succeed on a global scale, because that is what the company is aiming for. This is not the state of a global scale video game developer fighting game. Like, it cannot happen. Or our benchmark for netcode should be SF6. That is like the best netcode experience I think that we have right now. And that is the netcode experience that this game should have, because SF6 is the direct competitor to this game. And I don't know, as I was saying, I think that that is very big, because if we look at the thing from a business standpoint, this is a huge problem. It gives you a bad reputation as a company for the next few years. Consumers are not going to trust your products. And if consumers don't trust your games, to work well, to be functionally, high level in terms of netcode, matchmaking, etc., all the technical things, why would they put money on you? So in that sense, again, this game should be delayed. Will it happen? I don't think so. We still have to have the discussion, and say this publicly, because hopefully someone at the SNK team sees this video, and I don't know if that's gonna happen, because I'm a very small channel, but I really think that that is what should happen, you know, for the future of SNK as a company, and for the future of this game that looks incredible, plays incredible, but sadly doesn't have the best netcode or matchmaking. So if you enjoyed the video, give it a like, subscribe, and again, leave a comment. Do you think that the game should be delayed? And I'm going to be uploading high-level matches from the beta and many other content for the game. This is not going to be, you know, the last video for it. So see you on the next videos, guys.